Hello there, my very good friends, and a warm welcoming good afternoons to you. I've just realised that sentence makes no sense. But anyway, we are on this video going to tell you the truth behind Kevin Owens and particularly Sami Zayn wrestling in Saudi Arabia.
Triple H missed last week's SmackDown. We'll give you all the details on that.
John Cena has given a pretty big update on his wrestling future.
And we've got the latest news on if Randy Orton will ever return to a WWE ring.
I'm Andy Murray.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And you've got us twice today. Welcome to the after news. We need to jingle, we need a new jingle for this, don't we? It needs to be a bit sillier.
Mad graphics flashing up in front of us.
Yeah,
something like that.
Lasers, noises, sound effects.
Can we have lasers coming out of our eyes?
No, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
Metal from Steve on the South Park, yeah.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Sami in particular. They're wrestling in Saudi Arabia. They're going to be defending their undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships against Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa at Night of Champions later this month. When this was announced last week, this raised a bunch of eyebrows because previously Sami has effectively been banned from wrestling in Saudi Arabia due to his Syrian heritage. And of course we have Kevin Owens, who'd only ever wrestled on one of these shows before. He was in the Greatest Royal Rumble. After that, he did not compete on any of them. So obviously, Sami has the bigger story here, but Kevin also not frequenting these WWE pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia. People asking why, what happened, what changed, what's going on? Well, it's kind of what you think it is if you've been keeping up with the international news stories, but Dave Meltzer has some interesting stuff on here from Wrestling Observer Radio, talking about the whole situation, noting that yes, because Saudi Arabia and Syria have reopened diplomatic relations for the first time in 11 years, I believe it is, and the embassies are working together, and Saudi Arabia is now allowing people from Syria to enter the country and stuff. That's how Sami's allowed to compete on the show.
Yeah.
Kind of nice, heartwarming friendship side of this is that when this became apparent, and I think it was only reported last week, the Associated Press, I think, broke the story on this, or at least that was the article I read first. But when this was announced...
Dave with the scoop.
Yeah, imagine Dave just breaking international news stories, international relations, all of that stuff. But when this was became apparent that Sami could do the show, Sami decided to do the show. And then when Kevin was like, oh, my friend wants to do it, I want to do it too. So that's a nice little bit of friendship to all of this. So they're going to go and do Night of Champions, them and Roman. Them versus Solo and Roman.
Yeah.
Seems like a good thing for Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
These shows obviously come with the strings that we have to mention.
They come with this conversation, don't they? Realistically, that's what they come with. I like the solidarity both ways. I like Kevin Owens making one decision once and making another decision again. That's, as you say, that's the nice friendship element of this story. And ultimately, I suppose, Sami Zayn is representative of an ugly side of all of this. Is now going to try and make some good with it. He's, I imagine something that will come from this will be some more plug-in and promotion for his Sami for Syria campaign, something that he's always held very dear and used his platform even when he was working WrestleMania to get that out there as much as possible. Fingers crossed he can do this too, and some good can come from something that is still dicey, way beyond wrestling news reporters' pay grade, isn't it? But Meltzer trying to get this all the same so that we can get this all the same is yet another strange thing from the Saudi Arabia deal that we kind of have to try and trudge through and understand.
Yeah, and if you think UNBANNED is too strong a term, it really isn't. That's literally what happened per Dave when this arrangement between WWE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was brought together. They specifically asked for Sami not to be on these shows. So that's how that kind of came into place. And obviously WWE earns $50 million a pop, and they are effectively being done to rehabilitate the image of that regime. So, you know why these shows happen, you know why they occur. But like you said, hopefully Sami can use this to spread some good, as he always does with Sami for Syria and the various other causes he's championed over the years. He's a good egg, Sami Zayn.
One of the best.
And we support him.
Never let these shows coming around stop you asking questions or doing your research or doing your homework. You got to feel how you got to feel about them. But as long as everybody talks about that, the other side of these shows, the better, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how sports washing works, when people forget these conversations. So let's keep having them.
Indeed. On to more sort of generic backstage pro wrestling gossip.
Rubbish
that's
now.
The kind of juice we like. Let's have some trash. Shall we? We've got some trashy National Enquirer hot goss about why Triple H wasn't at SmackDown. Well, we don't actually. We just know he wasn't there. That's the story.
You get really good at this news.
I love it. I love it. It's a clickbait without even clicking. Triple H wasn't at SmackDown. Do you want to know why? We can't tell you, but we can tell you he wasn't there. Thanks to PW Insider Elite, who gave us the news that he wasn't on SmackDown. Bruce Pritchard was running the show, so another very experienced veteran hand backstage in the absence of the game. No word why yet from PW Insider Elite as to why he wasn't there, or whether or not he was at Monday Night Raw last night. His status was unclear according to them. As of when this was reported, indeed as of when we put it on the site this morning, we don't know if Triple H was there or not. Just that he did miss SmackDown, of course. Creatively, from Triple H's position, his fingerprints remain all over the show, much in the same way Vince's were when he was reported as not being at the show. And indeed, Vince could be zooming in any given week anyway. But yes, Triple H not at SmackDown. No word as of whether or not he was at Raw yet. But we've been given no reason to worry as to why that wasn't the case.
Yeah, no indication that this is for bad stuff. No indication in any way, really. Maybe he was just taking a holiday. Maybe he was like, hey, I'm going to the Bahamas for the weekend or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Could be anything.
In terms of Pritchard, it was a Brucey bonus because SmackDown kind of kicked eggs.
Yeah, it was really good.
So
again.
he stewarded a pretty decent show.
Yeah, he did. He did. Brother love, spreading some love. I'm useless at this.
Not a bad podcast, something to wrestle.
No.
Not the best wrestling podcast.
Yeah, you know what
That'd
that
be the
is.
WhatCulture wrestling one.
Do the plug, baby.
Oh yeah, you can get your podcast wherever you get them, Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, or whatever that's called now. Overcast. I like Overcast. Why not get us on that? Anyway, but yeah, myself and Michael Sidgwick have got the Raw review coming and the NXT preview coming for all your WWE needs, and then all the other stuff throughout the rest of the week. You know where to find it.
Do you know who else is coming? Veer. He was on Raw last night.
Yes.
You know who wasn't on Raw?
Who?
John Cena.
No.
What a segue. He's been talking a little bit about his wrestling future, talking a little bit about WrestleMania 39 when he had that not his best match with Austin Theory, I think it's fair to say. He was on Busted Open Radio having the interview, all of that stuff, and I'll read to you what John Cena had to say. I wish I was still there every day talking about WWE, but my body can't do it anymore. I don't want to give the consumer a bad product. What I have is what you saw at WrestleMania 39. That's what I feel confident that I can deliver. Spat on my phone there, cool, and that's really nice for here and there. That's not every day in WWE or sports entertainment. Sports entertainment has raised the bar, and I'm humble enough to say that's awesome. You're supposed to leave it better than when you found it. So I respect this a lot. Yeah. This is John Cena going, hey, I can't keep up with this stuff every week or whatever. I'm becoming an older gentleman. All these younger people, they can keep up with the pace. I cannot. All I'm capable of is what you saw at WrestleMania. So I'm not going to disgrace myself. I'm going to give you that. The WrestleMania match was not well received by a lot of folk. I don't think it was a complete shambles or anything like that.
No.
It wasn't some 4 million gazillion botches and
it was too basic to go wrong.
It was really big. It was house show paced. Yeah. Is how I describe it. And ultimately, did it do much for Theory coming out of it? That is, I would answer no, not really. But I think that is as much to do with the booking of him since then, as well as the match and stuff. But there you go, John Cena. He's not going to be full-time. We knew that already. He does movies and stuff. But.
I think that's it. It's kind of like he's kind of answered the question that people really want to ask there while dodging it at the same time. There's a crueler question, which is, Austin Theory match at WrestleMania wasn't very good. Discuss. Yeah. And maybe he'd speak at length, but I think that's his way of trying to be diplomatic and play both sides a little bit. It's fair to say, I don't want to go out there and take main events up from people when I can't give as much as I used to. I'll work the opener, I'll try and help people, but it's wrestling. You need to be at a certain level to help people. Yeah. This is why when wrestlers do retire, it's very careful how you use them to give other people rubbers. It's best done in a promo or a beatdown rather than a match. I thought John Cena appeared at WrestleMania. Yeah. That's what he did at WrestleMania. Did he give you...
Which is quite an achievement given that he's invisible.
Well, yeah, indeed, very much so, yeah. And I did see... I don't know if this was in the same interview or another quote he made. He did say that he spent sort of 9 or 10 hours with Austin Theory, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So fair play to John Cena for trying to get that done. Remains a consummate professional behind the scenes, even if you see a little bit less of it in front of the camera. So fair play to him.
Absolutely. You know what else he's a pro for? the bald patch, man. He's rocking it. He's owning it.
An egg in a nest, and you got to love that, yeah.
Really
speaking of somebody you wouldn't also want to spend 10 hours with, Randy Orton. What's going on with him at the moment? There was all these
20 years ago when he was pooping in bags and stuff.
Yeah. or now if I'm watching his matches. But sort of just ahead of WrestleMania, there was for Randy Orton fans, I just want to say I'm not one, but who cares about me? Before WrestleMania 39, there was rumours that he may never wrestle again, and that was obviously heartbreaking news to the Randy Orton fans, not least because he was kind of in the middle of something pretty cool with Riddle, and the quote-unquote safer style that he worked all these years was supposedly allowing him to work for much longer. Dave Meltzer's come through in the Wrestling Observer today with a few little tidbits on Orton. Meltzer would bet on him coming back, though Bob Orton, Randy Orton's father, has said the doctors have told him not to. Randy Orton is, of course, a very wealthy man, doesn't need to risk it for the cash at this point. But he has said in interviews previous that he'd love to work till 50. That's on and off the record that Orton would like to keep going if he can. Meltzer kind of editorialises a bit that Randy isn't expected back anytime soon and could retire, but wrestlers are wired differently. They're not wired. I mean, we know this. They've got to be wired differently to even get in there in the first place, And I guess Orton is of that. He's a strange fruit in that regard. On one hand, the guy that has tried to slow it down and keep it simple strikes you as the type of guy that would maybe like to get out, but then he's second generation, he's got this legacy that he maybe wants to preserve, protect and enhance.
It's in his veins.
It's indeed, it says so on that big screen every time he walks out. I could understand why he would want to keep going. John Cena, maybe he wants that Cena schedule, maybe if nothing else, he fancies 10 bland minutes once a year for a big payday. Maybe he feels like he's got unfinished business with Cody Rhodes, who's only just made his return, with Riddle, so he can hashtag finish that story. There's just, Randy probably feels like there's more for Randy to do. Yeah. I hope he looks after his body and retires.
Shooting hard!
But, Randy Orton should do what Randy Orton should want to do, and I know he's got legions of fans, and I'm being harsh really for no reason.
You have your own tastes and you've got to put them forward. If we were just vanilla drones, we would just say, some people think he's good, some people think he's bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's
not what we do here.
There's loads of really great stuff to find on Randy Orton the network. You search for Christian and you'll find it. But fair play to him. Well, there's 3 good matches. What do you want? But Randy Orton, hell of a legacy, hell of a run. He's put his body through a lot, despite safe style. The RKO involves flinging yourself on your back.
Yeah.
And the guy had
he's 6'5",
separated shoulders early in his career, man. It's it's a hell of a run, regardless of what you think of it.
He's a big boy leaping his big old body into the air every single time he wrestles. So it's no matter how many times you might work a style that's with lots of rest holds and various other things, he still has that repeated impact in basically every single match, and he kind of has to do it. Randy Orton isn't Randy Orton without the RKO, so it would be very difficult for him to not do that move.
Got his body in amazing shape, and he's got wears trunks. Can't simply cover that up by wearing a shield flat jacket ensemble, can you?
Randy Orton in a t-shirt, and it just won't work. It just won't work as well. So he's got a lot of things to live up to. I think that any retirement where the person doesn't get to go out on their own terms is sad and sucks and is rubbish. And I would never in a million years wish anything like that on anyone really, apart from an insane dickhead like the Ultimate Warrior.
Can't do your leg drop anymore, Hulkster.
But it seems to be his dad with that interview and stuff. He even said himself, he was like, well, Randy's going to do what Randy wants, and acknowledging that wrestlers are often nuts when it comes to their bodies and stuff. But I do think there is there are storylines to tie up for sure, right? Yeah. Whether you're into his work or not, I think Riddle for sure. Cody, I was campaigning for that. If Cody won the belt, I wanted Randy as his first defense. Obviously, we've learned since that Randy wasn't physically incapable of doing that. But I think it would have been nice.
You want to look at that, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to see them different stages of their lives.
Whatever you think of his matches and stuff, I think he can still carry a feud in promos and character work and stuff. We saw that in his last few years with the Riddle stuff. Yeah. Some of his early pandemic promos opposite Edge were tremendous as well. And then they hung each other in a gym in that match. Obviously, hope that the man is recovering well, because on a human level, this is a guy with a family.
Yep.
who's not been able to do what he loves for a year now. Obviously, he's very well set money-wise, you'd imagine. But yeah, hope he recovers. And there you go.
It's the old adage, isn't it, in wrestling? The show's not over until you walk out with yourself off a Hell in a Cell.
Speaking of that, content coming soon to the channel. Anyway.
Look out for that.
It's demented. Thank you for joining us today, this afternoon. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Michael Hamflet would like to personally thank you for following him at
Michael Hamflet.
And myself at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hubert. Bye.